I want to ask, how did you first get into this industry?
I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. I was somebody that was very fascinated with sex and sexuality as a child. I was that kid in primary school hiding at the back of the library, staring at cartoon diagrams of naked men and women in books like Where Did I Come From?
We love that book. We've mentioned it on the show before.
I started realising that I was interested in men and women at quite an early age. So basically, no matter how I was doing my sexuality in high school, I was criticised for it. So when I was finally introduced to pornography, I saw this space in which having multiple partners of varying genders was celebrated rather than criticised. So this was a space that I thought I could finally express myself in a place where I could belong. And so it was from that moment on that I actually wanted to become a porn performer, a porn star, and that's basically history.
Now, is there a difference between work sex and at-home sex for people in the industry?
For some people, there is a very, very large gap between what they do at home and what they do on set. For me personally, I like to create a space in which I can explore my own sexuality. And that's one of the primary reasons that I started producing and directing myself, because although I enjoyed working for other companies, I didn't like necessarily portraying their vision of sexuality. For me, being in pornography is a form of self-documentation. It's a sexual journey. So for me, there's not a large gap between what I do at home and what I do on set. The only real difference is that there are cameras involved. But aside from that, what I do on camera is what I will do in my own home.
Do you find it weird? So when people will come up to you and say, "Oh, I'm a fan of yours," is that just a kind of weird thought?
For me, I love the fact that people are able to gain pleasure from my pleasure. I'm expanding the pleasure. So if you're a comedian, you want people to be laughing at your jokes. I want to induce that pleasure. I want people to also be exploring and expressing their sexuality through seeing my work. For me, it's a wonderful thing and it's an honour.
I'm completely naive to this industry, obviously. Do you ever fear that perhaps down the track, when maybe you do want to have a child, do you worry that there's ever going to be a point in time where you wish that you never went down this career path? Because it sticks around forever.
Nothing. It does stick around forever, and that's one of the reasons when people do approach me and ask me how to get into the industry, I always tell them to really think about why it is they want to get into it, because if it's just for money, they should steer clear. It really is something that you need to be passionate about, because it's there forever, and there is a lot of discrimination against sex workers in general. The problem isn't pornography. The problem is our society, because there's so much shame around sexuality in society, yet we're all so obsessed with sex. There really shouldn't be this stigma and discrimination. Now, personally, I don't plan on having children, so it doesn't affect me in that way. But of course, it affects me in the outside world. I use my real name, and I decided to do that for political reasons. I am proud of what I do, and I don't want to hide behind an alias. But of course, that has consequences when I am applying to rent a new property. My name is there. People know my name. Luckily, I feel like most people have been understanding with me in the outside world, but there is that chance that I am going to be stigmatized or discriminated against.